Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here. We are live in the fishbowl with Catfish. Today, I don't necessarily have any one thing that I want to talk about, uh, but we here. We're gonna talk about it. Uh, a number of things, really. But before I get into that, I want to make sure that you all understand that I would appreciate greatly if you followed me on Facebook and TikTok and Twitter, and that you also subscribe to whatever the hell it is that I'm doing on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we are live on Facebook, we're live on TikTok. I'm sorry, not TikTok. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. So, I would appreciate if you followed me on all of those platforms, in addition to subscribing to whatever this becomes. This is episode 8, I believe. And excuse me, this is episode 8, I believe. I was on the phone earlier today with my partner uh, that I went to college with. We were talking about some stuff, and it kind of uh, inspired me to get on and talk about the university that I attended, but didn't graduate from. Let's get it clear. I did graduate college. I graduated from Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia, but the majority of my undergraduate studies came from Mississippi Valley State University in Ittle Beno, Mississippi. I did have a pit stop at Alcorn State University as well. But the majority of my undergraduate studies came from Mississippi Valley State University. And when I talk about me going to homecoming and me doing a lot of things uh, alumni related, uh, they are primarily things that are done with Mississippi Valley State University. Um, but me and my friend, we were talking about uh, Mississippi Valley, or the Valley as we just like to call it. We were talking about the Valley and talking about a lot of things that uh, could, and I just want to make sure that I get something clear. I'm not saying the things that I'm about to say with the intention of getting Mississippi Valley State any bad representation or anything like that. I don't want to get it fucked up. I love Valley. You know what I mean? With that being said, there are a lot of things that are happening at Valley that could help, that should be changed to help improve the enrollment at Mississippi Valley. Now, I am not trying to make Valley compete with all of the universities that exist in the United States. By no means am I trying to compare them to all of the universities in the United States. If we stick specifically on the universities that are in the state of Mississippi, and again, we're not looking at community colleges. We're just looking at the colleges and universities that exist. One has to ask yourself, if you were a high school junior or senior and you are preparing yourself for the next level of education, being college, what about Mississippi Valley State University says to you, hey, this is a school that I need to attend? And as a parent, uh, what about Mississippi Valley State will say to you that I need to send my child there, outside of the fact that mommy and daddy attended the Valley, right? You look at some of these other schools, you look at the Mississippi States, you look at the Ole Misses, you look at the USMs, you look at the Tougaloo colleges, you look at Russ College, you look at Alcorn and Jackson State. These schools all have something there that makes them either attractive as a university for the student, or they have something there that has a great lineage and a great history that says to the students as well as the parent of the student that they should attend this university. Uh, One of the things that is hurting Mississippi Valley is the fact that it is a young university. Mississippi Valley is uh, a little over 75 years old, right? Some of these other universities have been around since the 1800s, right? And so the reputation and the history and the lineage goes back further. Some of these universities have much greater known alumni than Mississippi Valley. Um, but the main thing that I look at, even if I back up just 20 years, if I back up just 20 years and I look at where Mississippi Valley was then compared to now, you look at um, even from just an educational standpoint, you look at the fact that at some point, Mississippi Valley had uh, a couple of programs that were some of the best programs in the state educationally. Um, the social work programs and the education programs at one point were some of the greatest programs that existed in the state of Mississippi. So it made sense from an educational standpoint for a person that wanted to get into social work or criminal justice as well. Criminal justice, social work, and education. It made sense for those who wanted to work in those industries to attend that university. But geographically speaking, Mississippi Valley sits in the middle of nowhere, right? That it might be something that is good for parents of those students because they're sitting in the middle of nowhere. They don't have nothing to do. But when you have nothing to do, you almost always end up getting into mischievous activities that could be distracting, right? But as a student, there's hardly anything there for you to do outside of going to class. And because of that, it doesn't make Mississippi Valley as a educational destination a sexy place, so to speak, to attend. Right? You look at some of these other universities. You look at Tougaloo and Jackson State. Uh, these schools are either in or right outside of the capital city of the university, right? And Mr. Towers made a wonderful point as well. He says that the IT department was at some point a good one. We don't know about what it is now, right? But you look at Alcorn. Alcorn sits in the middle of nowhere as well, but Alcorn has found a way to develop itself so that it can be a self-sustaining uh, entity. And Alcorn is wonderful for that. You know what I mean? Mississippi Valley still hasn't found a way to do that to be able to sustain itself, and that's problematic. A lot of these other universities that are um, in Mississippi, they are either in a major city within the state of Mississippi, or they are not far enough away from a major city to be able to make itself accessible to things that are desirable for the student body. You even look at Russ College. Russ College is uh, simply a fellas. I appreciate you for being here. Russ College is a stone's throw away from Memphis. You know what I mean? And because of that, it makes it more appealing, and from a financial standpoint, it is always better to make your major purchases, which one including your educational purchase, especially if you're not on scholarship, to attend school in Russ and Mississippi as opposed to attend school in Tennessee. But you get the benefits of being close to Tennessee. Mississippi Valley State University sits about an hour and a half away from both Memphis and Jackson. And the Mississippi Delta area itself is, I'm from there, so I can speak on it. You hear me? There's not much there for someone from outside of the Delta to come there and be able to enjoy. If you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life in a place to obtain your education, if you're not from the Delta, it can be a bit depressing to come to the Delta and devote 4 years of your life to a place that is uh, heavily impoverished, a place that is underserviced, and it's very, very, very hard to be able to come there and to live there, to devote 4 years or more of your life to that area, right? And so it's one of those things. But also we have to look at, my partner was talking to me earlier about it, and he was saying how, yeah, you know what I mean? Those are the things that you have to understand, Trellis. They're gonna learn about double quick chicken and all that other stuff. But what also happens is what people don't understand is that the Mississippi Delta, specifically getting your education at Mississippi Valley State, and to a lesser degree, those that come from out of the Delta and go to, say, the community college, Mississippi Delta Community College. Uh, those people that have come there, they realize that being in the Delta, especially being there, excuse me, for those 4 years from 18 to 22, 21, or whatever, uh, you're going to learn a lot in the classroom. But what you really learn about is hustling. You learn about survival. If you can make it during that time period in your life in the Mississippi Delta, you can thrive anywhere, right? Because you're literally taking those important years of your life, and you're devoting that time to get your education. But outside of the classroom, you have to learn how to thrive. You have to learn how to survive. You have to learn how to be able to maintain yourself in the midst of struggle, right? And what was so cool about the era in which we attended school, I was there from like 96. I graduated high school in 96. So we were there from like 96 to 2000, right? Uh, One of the things that I was talking to my friend about, I was telling him that what was different from our time period to now is that we had the time from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, minus an hour for lunch. But we had that 8 to 4 time period where we were supposed to be, all of us didn't do it, but where we were supposed to be devoted to our studies, right? Anything after that, we were out there on the yard. We were out there in the student union. We were out there on campus. We were out there socializing with other people from other places, other than the Mississippi Delta, for those of us that went to school locally. Um, but what's cool about attending Mississippi Valley and any HBCU for that matter is being able to go to a place where other people look like you and other people can understand the struggle that you have because they have similar stories. I don't care if you went to school there and ended up, you met people from Chicago, you met people from DC, you met people from Baltimore, you met people from California. Um, I have a funny California story too, but I'll talk about that. It's probably a whole nother podcast, right? But you have all these people from all these different places, from Detroit and everywhere, and you don't realize that they had a struggle the same way that people from the Mississippi Delta did, right? And so because of that, you can relate and you can sympathize and you can understand where their struggle comes from because you had the same struggle. You had the same things going on. And now, because you can relate to these people, you can learn to come up together. You grew up from birth to high school with the people that are in your city, but now you got people from everywhere, and you can learn to elevate yourselves on the collegiate level. The differences, though, is when you're talking about comparing the educational systems from one university to another, even within the same state. You look at the technological advances that some of the other universities have. I left Mississippi Valley and I briefly attended Alcorn State. Now, going from Mississippi Valley to Alcorn as a mass communications major was a night and day thing, right? And the reason it was night and day is because number one, both schools had their own radio stations, right? However, Mississippi Valley's radio station was they had a different format. You know, you can't change that, right? Well, you can, but that's a different thing. You can't change the format that the station has because that's, operated and owned by the university. But the technology, the amount of money that was put into the mass communications department at Alcorn State University was leaps and bounds above what Mississippi Valley had to do with their communications department. So much so that the students at that time, the students at Mississippi Valley, when they had to do their TV practicum, that learning about how to work at a TV station and how to work cameras and da 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 da. We had to find our own transportation to go 2 counties over, to go to Washington County, to go to what was the name of that TV station? WLBT. We had to find our own way to get over there. And we're talking in an era where everyone didn't have a car, let alone, well, everyone didn't have a car. No one had a cell phone. You know what I mean? No one had a cell phone. Everyone didn't have a car, and you had to find your own way over there. Right. And there was a TV station built on the campus, but we didn't have the equipment there, and we didn't have the professors there to be able to run the TV station. And you go back years later and you see that they have finally, you know, gotten everything up to par at Mississippi Valley State, the communications department. But even looking at that, and you go to the university now and then you visit other communications departments within the state, you find out that we're still like years behind some of these other universities, right? And so, but when I went to Alcorn, they were just, my mind was blown. But then I had an opportunity to go while at Alcorn. I had an opportunity to go to the University of Southern Mississippi, and you got to see what they were doing, and you got to realize that the PWI money is a whole lot different than HBCU money. When they pour into their university, they pour, right? We can't get the students at Mississippi Valley to, especially, I can't say now because now they don't have the enrollment, but back when I was in school there, we had like 3,500 students on campus, and that was a lot for that time period. But at Mississippi Valley, there used to be a dorm that was called LaFleur Hall. LaFleur Hall was right across the street from Rice Titan Stadium, where the football team played. There would be so many students in the dorm or just not at the game, you're already paying for it with your tuition. And so why not go to the game? What happens a lot of times is the football team, the cheerleaders, the band, we thrive, and I'm saying we because I was a band student. We thrive off of the feedback from the crowd, the support of the crowd. You know what I mean? And by not having you there to support is very problematic, especially for the football team. My first year at Mississippi Valley was one of the last winning seasons that we had. This was before they even had SWAC championship games and things of that nature. The winner of the SWAC was just determined by the record. And my first year there, we went 7-6. And it was 7-6. And we were almost like in a tiebreaker situation to take the SWAC. We ended up finishing third in the SWAC because the last game of the year was determined by a number of schools or whatever, you know. But to be able to have the band at these games, to be able to have the cheerleaders at the games, that's wonderful. But if we don't have the support of the student body there, if we don't have the support of the community there, it's problematic. You know what I mean? And as Derek just stated in the comment section, the endowment money that these universities receive, the endowment money that these universities receive is complete on a different level than the money that we receive at HBCUs specifically. It is different than the money that is being taken up at Mississippi Valley. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, Mississippi Valley, as a whole, I'm sorry, the alumni doesn't necessarily pour into the university the way that it should. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah, the university doesn't hit. Uh, they don't they don't give. The university doesn't receive, let me say it that way. The university doesn't receive Mississippi Valley, I'm talking about, doesn't receive the way that some of these other HBCUs receive, right? Uh and even looking at, we're in the middle of football season right now, and Valley's football team is not looking that great. Well, we're coming to the end of it now. But, look at how some of our other SWAC schools, look at how some of those students support the students and the alum and the communities. Look at how they support their universities. Uh, Jackson State could have a football game. They have a football game coming up this weekend, right? I believe they're playing in the Soul Bowl against Alcorn. Alcorn and Jackson State are going to show up and show out for their respective universities, right? Even if they decided to change the game from being at Jackson or Alcorn, and they decide, you know what, today they're going to decide that this game is going to be played in Birmingham. They're going to fill up whatever stadium they put it in Birmingham, because Jackson State and Alcorn fans follow their team. Southern University can announce today that they are playing Grambling State University on the moon, and the Southern fans are going to be like, I don't know where we can find a rocket ship at, but where can we go find one? I got $5 on some rocket fuel. They got hotels on the moon. They got Airbnbs on the moon, because we going to the game. We gonna find a way to go. The way that they support, and we're talking about them Southern being supportive of their football team. Their coach just got fired, like yesterday or day before yesterday. Their coach just got fired, but they still are going to support that team. You know what I mean? Not only the team, but in the comment section, uh, Brother Rags is talking about the bands, and we all know that uh, looking at HBCUs, you're also going to be looking at today. I mean, at bands. Bands are just as important as the football teams. Bands are the ambassadors for a lot of these universities, and bands can be a good recruiting factor for a lot of these HBCUs. When you have these HBCUs that are out here and they have a good band program, or they have a good football team, or they have a good volleyball, anything, it's going to make it more attractive for those universities to recruit other people. You know what I mean? And so, uh, Brother Towers just said it's difficult donating to a school that treated you like the stepchildren that nobody loved and or liked. And that is very, very, very true. You know what I mean? What happens way too often is that uh you have so many of the schools that are in the SWAC, so many schools that are just HBCUs in general. You know what I mean? I was talking to my homeboy about this earlier. Mississippi Valley for the last 20 or so years uh, has been looked upon as the most impoverished university in SWAC football history and SWAC school history. You know what I mean? Um, and don't get it fucked up. I love my school. I love Valley. Please don't get it messed up. I love Valley. But sometimes what we have to do is, as administrators of these universities, we have to be able to hear the things that are hard to hear, so that we can make the changes that need to be made in order to make the school better. Uh, my partner was talking to me earlier today. Same partner. He was saying, like, we coming up on like the hundredth anniversary of Mississippi Valley being established. Like, Mississippi Valley is young. It was founded in 1950. We're 22 years away from that, from them existing for 100 years. And my partner was like, uh, yo, what if Valley don't make it to see 100 years? You know what I'm saying? What if Valley doesn't make it to see 100 years? And I'm like, I can't wrap my brain around that. But you looking at the enrollment that is happening with Valley, the enrollment has been decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. Valley just put out a tweet a couple of days ago to say that their enrollment increased 16%. But 16% of 1,500 people, even if you round it up to 2,000 people, 10% of that is 200 plus another 100. You're talking about an additional 300 people. You know what I mean? That's not enough. That is not sustainable. You know what I mean? For us to continue to thrive. You know what I mean? Uh, this young man, Damian Sinclair, says in the comments, there are so many layers to this amazing conversation. Let's start with Valley not being in the center of a community slash city. Protection of the school's culture. We are the youngest HBCU as well. And I made mention of that. The issue at hand, again, geographically speaking, Valley sits somewhere that is not desirable. A lot of us that attended Mississippi Valley State University, we attended there simply because one of two reasons. Number one, we got scholarships there that other schools weren't willing to give us, or because we were a legacy of some sort. My father attended, my mother attended, my brother, my siblings went there, and so I'm going to go there. You know what I mean? And Sinclair, uh, when I was a freshman, that may have been his senior year at the university, right? And what happens when I attended Mississippi Valley, I personally was attached to Mississippi Valley way before I was even old enough to attend college. I spent 1 year at L.S. Rogers Elementary School, which was directly behind, but on the campus of Mississippi Valley. I was a part of the NYSP programs that they had in the summers there. I was a part of the Upward Bound programs that Mississippi Valley offered each year to high school students. You know what I mean? And so it was just easier for me to make that transition from going from being there every summer, being there all throughout the year, or whatever, and then just becoming a student there, right? So it was easy for me, but for other people, it's a transition because, like, to be able to come from some of these different places, to be able to come from the Chicagos or even the Memphises or Little Rocks or whatever, and then come to Mississippi Valley, it is a culture shock for a lot of those people. You know what I mean? Now, I did have scholarships to go to other places. I had scholarships to go to Mississippi State. I had scholarships to go. I had academic as well as band scholarships to go to other places. My choice to go to Mississippi Valley was kind of closer to what Derek was saying here. Derek says that your parents didn't want you to go that far from home. I knew that I was going to be homesick if I had gone all the way, and it's funny to say it now, but if I had gone all the way to Southern or all the way to, whatever school, I knew that I was going to be homesick. My brain at that time was stuck on being in the Mississippi Delta. So for me, it was that. But then you get there and you start to realize, okay, that there's so many, especially after you look at things, after you've graduated and or just quit going to school or whatever, you realize that there's so many factors that are keeping Mississippi Valley State from being as great as it could be. There are so many factors that are keeping it from being as great as it could be. And you also realize that the administrators are not necessarily taking advantage of the opportunities that are placed in front of them to make Valley great. You know what I mean? Uh, Desmond, what's going on, brother? Desmond says here, having attended Southern and graduated from Mississippi Valley State University, there are so many items that have to be addressed to improve a place that is special to many of us, right? Um, and so it's like, to be able, and Desmond, I actually went to school with Desmond, and to see him come there, and he even talked about some of the differences between going to a school in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, versus coming to Urbana, Mississippi. He talked about those things a lot. You know what I mean? And it was just weird to be able to hear all of these great things that people are dealing with and going through at these other universities. Meanwhile, we are struggling with basic necessities at the time that I was going to school. They don't have those same issues now. So I want to make sure that I reiterate that there are some improvements that have transpired. You know what I mean? When we were in the dorms, when I first, I don't want to say as a student, let me say it this way. When I started staying on campus, there were no phones in the dorm rooms. We had to use phones in the hallway on the payphone, shit like that. Then, by the time I became a student, uh, there were phones in the dorm rooms. You know what I mean? We didn't have that many TV channels. You know what I mean? We didn't have internet in the dorms. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We didn't have any of that shit. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you go to some of these other schools at the same time that I am in school with other contemporaries from other schools. They have access to shit that we just don't have access to. You know, and you look at some of these people, especially when you are a part of an organization that is bigger than you, uh, be it a football team, be it in a band, be it a fraternity or sorority, be it a choir, volleyball team. When you start going to these other schools and you have to stay on their campuses or you have to visit their campuses and you see the advancements that they have that we don't have, like basic necessities. Like, I remember my first year. Uh, I remember my first year, which was I appreciate that, Sinclair. I remember my first year in the band. Uh, we went to play in the very first Chicago football classic against Southern University, and when we went there, we ended up staying not in a hotel, but we stayed on the campus of Chicago State. And we're looking at Chicago State and their dorms and seeing how they are living and comparing their dorms to our dorms. And it's like night and day. Their dorms were their dorms, their bathrooms, their everything's with leaps and bounds. And we're talking about just the living arrangements. We're talking about just the living arrangements, right? And they had co-ed dorms, and they had, all these other things. They had, like, if I go to, when I was staying at Mississippi Hall, we had to take showers in shifts, so to speak, because I didn't want to walk into the restroom, to the shower, and just see a whole bunch of meat and balls in there. There were no dividers. There were none of that stuff. It was community showers. Some of the doors to the bathrooms did not even have the stalls. They didn't have doors in the stalls. So if you had to take a dump, you go in there, you're gonna see somebody taking a dump. Then you go to Chicago State, and we have to sit there and look at how they are living, and you see that their living arrangements was better. You start going to see other schools. Even don't even worry about Chicago State. You can go to other dorms in the SWAC. You know what I mean? And you can see that their living arrangements were still a whole lot better than our living arrangements. And it's crazy to know that, because as the last school that was founded in the SWAC, it is hard to imagine that the newest school in the SWAC is so far behind on so many other things that are basic necessities, so many things that are basic educational requirements, that it leaves you just baffled at how we continue to exist. And we exist because of some of the people that are in the comment sections right now. No matter how bad things are at Mississippi Valley, we still love Mississippi Valley. We love the time that we spent there. We love being able to go back for homecoming, and we love being able to go back to see how things have improved. But we also want to make sure that we let people know that things need to be better. And because they need to be better, we make these pleas to the presidents of the university, the various presidents that have been over the university over the past years. We make these pleas to the department heads of the respective schools that are at Mississippi Valley. We make these suggestions. We do all of these things, and a lot of the times, the things that we say fall on deaf ears. And it's troublesome to be able to have these ideas and have these thoughts and have these things to take place. And it doesn't produce anything, right? Now, I have something that I do want to say, but I want to save it for later, because um I know that me talking about the school as a whole is great. But what I also know, those of you that are watching, know that I don't have a filter, right? Before I get into all of that, make sure that you're following me on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, on TikTok, and subscribe to me on YouTube. You hear me? You know what I'm talking about? So make sure you do those things, right? But here's the thing, right? So what we're looking at is we're looking at a lot of the things that have transpired over the time that we have been familiar with our university, and we can see where those advancements need to happen, and they haven't. And we have seen too many times misappropriation of funds that have transpired at Mississippi Valley. We have heard stories about money being donated by one of our greatest alumni that was supposed to be used for one thing and used for another thing. You know what I mean? We have heard stories about the funds that have been coming in from some of these uh uh like Home Depot. Home Depot would do their thing and da 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 and donate money, and then that money gets used for stuff that is not meant to be used for. You know what I mean? And so what happens is a lot of the times when those things transpire, let's just make it real plain, right? So uh Trellis, you right about that. If let me show you what she said. If they don't know you don't have a filter by now, they will by the end of the show, right? It is what it is. But let's just say Trellis, for example. If I were to continuously give Trellis $10 a month, and I tell Trellis to take this $10 and go buy me cotton balls every time the cotton balls go on sale. And I do that for a whole year. I've given her $120 for cotton balls. And then on the 13th month, I go to collect those cotton balls. And I see that she done spent my money on baby oil and chicken and some other stuff. Why would I continue to give her $10? Why would I continue to do that? What has happened way too often with Mississippi Valley is that money that you donate has been, you would donate money for a specific cause, right? And when you donate that money for that specific cause and you see that that money has been spent on some other shit, it makes you say, you know what? I ain't fucking with y'all no more. You know what I mean? It makes you say that. And so now these different departments have to come up with their own ways of collecting money. And so now you're skeptical about, okay, well, if the mass communications department has their own cash app, like, why am I giving to a cash app anyway? But it is what it is. But if the mass communication department has a cash app and I give money to that cash app, and how do I know that that money is being allocated for what it's supposed to be used for? You know, or, you see that alumni is used a lot. You have this alumni association, you have that alumni association, you have the alumni association for the football team, and then you have the alumni association for the entire totality of the university, right? So a lot of people that give money, they give to the big pot, right? The big pot doesn't tell you what they're using their funds for. And because they don't tell you what they're using their funds for, it's like, okay, am I seeing some changes that's going on the university, right? Am I seeing things am I seeing things right? And so for me, it's like there has to be a level of complete and utter transparency for those that are giving to the university, right? Now, a lot of us are not going to read that bullshit, but I'm one of the motherfuckers that will read it. At the end of the day, if there and as Desmond so eloquently stated, there has to be some level of accountability. There has to be. And so what happens way too often is that you look at at a lot of the shit that's happening and you say to yourself, okay, now what I need to do, what I need to be able to see is how much money is in this account now, how much money is being donated now, how much money is being spent and what it is being spent on, and how much money is left over. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not going to take the time to sit there and read every line of what's being spent. I ain't got nothing but time. You hear me? I don't have nothing but time. And that reminds me, there's a young lady by the name of, she was in the band with us, Lord have mercy. Uh You know what though, and here's I'm glad you said that, brother. I'm glad you said that. There needs to be a smoother transition from pre-alumni to alums. That would be that's where we need to start, right? The issue at hand is that I remember being a part of the pre-alumni association, right? And they talk about how all of these things that you need to do as as an alum, to prepare you to give back. They want to prepare you to give back, and there's nothing wrong with the preparation. You know what I mean? But hmm, what really and truly happens is that when they first of all they want you to give back, and that's great, you know. But what also happens is that you have a lot of these alumni associations, these different chapters of the alumni, right? When I lived, I'm a perfect picture. When I lived in Virginia, I lived in the Hampton Roads area. There was no alumni association there. The closest one was in the DMV area. And I reached out to this young lady that I was in the band with, Tyra Covington. I reached out to her. She's part of the alumni association there. And she said, you can come and, join this association, right? So I went up there. Me and her chopped it up. Me and my wife went up there at the time and to DC. We sat up with her. We had dinner, the whole thing. We talking about the whole alumni association. So I reached out to the association to try to join, right? Now, mind you, at that time, in order to be a member of the association, you had to have so many hours as a student at Mississippi Valley to join. You, excuse me, you didn't have to be an actual alum. I'm ready to donate every time I get paid. I'm ready for the money to come out pre-tax to go straight to the university. They denied me because I didn't have a degree from the university. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to give y'all the money. They denied me, right? They denied me when they know they need help as much as they could get, right? And so, it's crazy, right? Let's look at this comment, right? There was a guy who gave 10,000 annually for many years, who eventually stopped giving to the university, all because they denied him the request of seeing where his money went. Those are the things that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Uh, when I give money to something, I don't always want to be the person to say, I need to see an itemized documentation of all the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. I don't always have to be that person, but if I'm giving that amount of money, you're talking about $10,000 annually. Now, at the end of the day, if he's doing his paperwork the right way, that $10,000 is a gift, and that gift is tax deductible, and that money could eventually come back to him when he files his taxes. That's wonderful. You can do that, but I still need to know where that money is going. I need to know how that money is being spent. If you're not willing to tell me how those funds are being allocated to different departments at the university, uh, then I want no parts of it. I don't, you know, and every time the lottery gets up to $1 billion or so, what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to go buy me some scratch offs, or buy not scratch, I'll buy me some lottery tickets or whatever, right? And I always think about, like, if I won that money, how would I spend some of that money? You know what I mean? Once they finish taxing that money and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? If I get $1 billion, I'm probably gonna be left with like 600-700 million dollars, right? If I get 600-700 million dollars, that leaves, let's just 700 million. That leaves me with 70 million to tithe. I'm not giving one church $70 million. I'm not doing that. But I am going to take that money. I'm going to divide that money up. I'm going to give that 10% to a bunch of different churches, right? And then you want to be able to help your family and stuff like that. But then you want to be able to help your the things that you love. And I love Mississippi Valley. I do. But unless they allow me to come in with my own construction company, and they allow me to come in with my own crew, and they allow me to come in with my own this and my own that, I wouldn't give them a red cent to do what they wanted to do with it, even if I told them that's what I wanted, right? Um, because it has been documented that they are known historically for misappropriating funds. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Mr. Robinson here says that that thing was in the newspaper too. You know what I'm saying about that guy that was donating $10,000. You know what I mean? And so now here's the other part of it too, right? So now you looking at what Mississippi Valley when they denied me from being a part of their alumni association, right? Norfolk State University. That's where I ended up eventually graduating from, right? I ended up eventually graduating from Norfolk State University. I left Mississippi Valley. I went to Alcorn for a very brief moment, joined the military, got out the military, finished up my degree in mass communications at Norfolk State University. Norfolk State get their money from me all the time. I want to give back somewhere. Valley wouldn't take my money, right? Valley wouldn't take my money. Norfolk State gets my money all the time. I get newsletters in the mail. I get documents. I get updates, right? I get all of those things from them because I wanted to give back somewhere, right? But Valley didn't want my money, right? So all of that, yeah, bro. When I tell you, and what's crazy, let me tell you, when I was down there, I was down there for years before I even stepped foot on their campus. Before I stepped foot on their campus, and then I realized, okay, let me just go here and see, go to figure out the school and this, then the third. You know what I mean? And then football season came. When football season came, I was a part of their mass communications department. Their part of the requirements for the mass communications department was for us to have to film the video for the football games. And that's when I first heard Norfolk State's band. Doc, when I tell you, bro, uh, it's crazy, right? But here's the thing, Derek, you said right. We do have to give the money. We do have to give. We do have to give. I understand that, but if those funds are being misappropriated, right? If those funds are being misappropriated, how long are you going to continue to give, knowing that this money that you send for the university is being spent on everything but the university, right? How long are you going to be willing to do that? And how long are you going to be willing to do that and not see advancements that are happening with uh with your university, right? Now again, when you have certain aspects of the university, right? So let's just say the band. If I want to give directly to the band, I know that the band has a way for me to give directly to them so that I don't have to go through the university, right? And so if you were someone who are part of the IT department, or you someone who part of the communications department, or you someone who's part of the computer science or the math, or social work, criminal justice, if they have a way for you to be able to give directly back to them without having to go through all the rigmarole and red tape of going through the university itself and then having those funds be dispersed, I have no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is when you have to give to the collective, right? When you have to give to the collective and then they don't have the means to show how they are spending those funds, that's problematic. Brother Reese, how you doing, man? Reese, hey, Reese is a good dude, man. I love me some Reese, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Um, but see, that's the thing though, Doc. Doc, what happens a lot of the times is that they say that it is, it is appropriate to demand those things, but when you demand to see the documentation to show that how these funds are being dispersed, and you are met with apprehension, and you are met with flat out denying you the opportunity to see those things, don't that make you question, like, what the hell are you hiding? Why are you hiding? You know what I mean? If just like every month when you go to your bank, the bank will send you a bank statement. How hard is it for us to have a database to show, okay, boom, every month when the bank statement comes out, we'll show you how this money is being spent. And if there's a discrepancy, we can explain it, the money that's being spent outside of what's being shown. Because a lot of the times, you can have $1 million just sitting in your account, and then $200,000 is missing. Okay, we took the $200,000 out because we had an emergency thing with the plumbing at the university or some shit. At least you can have something to show me. But when you sit there and you tell me that it is not required of you to be able to see how much money we are spending, but it is required of you. And I don't know how they work it, but I know that at Norfolk State, uh, that shit is automatic. Every pay period, bam, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? You have no problem taking, but you have a problem when I ask, yo, can I see the statements from September of 2023? Can I see the statements from all of 2022? Why is that problematic? You know what I'm saying? Why is that problematic? You know what I mean? And so it always baffles me how, those things. But because now we have so many people here from that have affiliations with and to Mississippi Valley State University. One of the things that has been a big issue for Valley in the last 10, 15 years has been enrollment. Like, again, we started this off by talking about how can we get the enrollment up, and the issue at hand is for a lot of people that are juniors and seniors in high school that are trying to choose a university to attend. Valley is not for them. It is not an attractive university to attend because, geographically speaking, it sits in the middle of nowhere, and then the administration there, they are not doing enough to make Valley an attractive place for incoming freshmen. They're not doing enough to get the enrollment up, because if we get the enrollment up, then we can get the numbers of the students up. We get the number of students up, then we can get, the funding that we need to do a bunch of things, right? If we get those funding up, we can, fix a lot of the shit that's there, or realize that the shit that's there don't need to be fixed, just need to be condemned and do some other shit with it. You know what I mean? And so what is it, what can be done to increase the enrollment? Because, I'm looking at Brother Cole and I'm looking at Brother Towers. When we were at school, we had a nice number of people that were attending, like on campus, right? But now what happens is, like last year, Valley's enrollment was under 1,500 on campus. 1,500, right? So what is it? What can be done? Because we can talk all day about the problems, but how do we find a solution to those problems? We can't. I mean, and I understand what you're saying here. There's been location factors, and I understand that the marketability. I understand that, but we cannot take Mississippi Valley State University and pick the whole damn school up and place it in Tupelo. We can't pick the whole damn school up and place it in another major city. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We have to work with that, right? But you know what, bro? I'm trying to tell you, they really don't. You know what I'm saying? The administration, they don't like for you to ask all these questions, bro. They don't. They don't. They don't. You know what I mean? And so ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like you got two types of people that deal with the administration. You got people that when they meet that wall that the administrations are going to present to them, they back the fuck up and they walk the fuck away. I'm not a backup type of person. I'm gonna press the issue. I'm gonna press the issue. You know what I mean? I'm the type of person that if there's a problem and you don't give me, I don't even have to like the answer that you give me. I don't have to like the answer that you give me, but you have to give me an answer. You have to give me an answer that I can accept. If I ask you for documentation to show where money is being spent, well, we don't have access to it. How the fuck you don't have access to it? Well, we'll email it to you. I'm standing right here in front of you. Print it out and give it to me right now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, we can't give it to you because uh you're not a part of the alumni. Oh, but my homeboy right here is. Give it to him. You know what I'm saying? But that's the and Mashad, that's what I'm saying. A lot of those funds, we know that these funds are not being used appropriately. You know what I mean? There was a rumor, and let me just say that there was a rumor that at one point during our time at Mississippi Valley State University, that our greatest, most popular alumni had donated some funds to the university, allegedly, had donated funds to the university to build a new locker room and a new weight room and all that shit for the football team, right? Allegedly, right? Now, what also happened during the same time was that they were building a new administration building on campus, because those of you that are from Valley and from my era understand that the administration building was at the back of the university. Now they put it at the front of the university, right? And so some kind of way they ran out of funds for building that building. They used those funds to that he allegedly gave to the university for the gym. They used those funds for that administration building, right? When you're talking about that stuff and then like, okay, we need some more money for that. I gave you the money. Fuck y'all. And I would be the same way. You know what I'm saying? You know what? And hello. Eric Cole just posted this right here. He said, look, what you can do is work more with the city of Itabena to allow more businesses to come. Itabena doesn't have a hotel. It's a food desert, so much more, right? Now, here's the thing, right? For those of you that are still there in Itabena, now I have to say this. Number one, Chavez Robinson. Chavez Robinson is from Itabena. My mama is from Itabena. I have family that's still there in Itabena, right? At one point, downtown Itabena, for what it was a thriving place. But now, downtown Itabena does not even have a grocery store, right? The place that used to be where the grocery store was, it used to be a Piggly Wiggly, now it was a Big Star, and now it is an event center, right? Downtown, the residents of Itabena have to go. They can go to the little corner store and buy a lemon. They can go to the corner store and buy some eggs. You know what I'm saying? But if they want a choice cut of beef, they got to drive 14 miles to Greenwood to get it, right? If Mississippi Valley invested some money into building a grocery store, number one, number one, it would do a number of things for the community. First of all, because those people that live there in Itabena, you don't realize how much that would help them. They don't have to drive all the way to Greenwood to get the things that they need. But if they also had that there and it was owned by Mississippi Valley State University, if it was owned by MVSU, you could have some of those business students that are going there to come there and see how a business should be run. You can have the accounting students there to come there and be, you know, doing internships and stuff like that. You could make money for the university and for the community. And we're not just talking about Itabena. We're talking about Itabena. We're talking about Morgan City. We're talking about Sidon. We're talking about all those little places can come there to that, right? But see, that's the thing, you know what I mean? Bro, I'm trying to tell you, these comments are coming in quick, but it's crazy. But it's like, again, I right, and see, that's the thing, Patrick. Is like, you need an actual grocery store with not having, those limited meat and fruit choices. You know what I'm saying? I If I want some ribs, I gotta go to Greenwood. But if I want bologna, I can go right there to the Dollar General Market. You know what I'm saying? Also, if you really sit down and look at it now, I want y'all to take a time to do this. Look at a map, like Google Maps, right? If you're standing in front of Mississippi Valley State University and you're facing the university, you know that to the right, there's so much land on both sides of the highway. There's a swamp land over there, and then all the way up until it turns into fields, cotton fields or soybean fields. Right now it's corn, but all the way up until you reach where they're planting stuff, all of that land belongs to who? Mississippi Valley State University. Why can't we put hotels right there so that when alumni come, they don't have to go all the way to Greenwood? Why can't we build more stuff there for the students? Why can't we put more buildings that are on that property to be able to make things better for everyone that is attached to the university? Why can't we do those things? You know what I'm saying? And that's the issue at hand. I understand, that land is being rented to the farmers, right? That land is being rented to the farmers. However, even if that land is being rented, where are the funds that are coming from that land being rented out? More importantly, if we really sit down and look at let's look at this comment. Most of the Delta doesn't have HBCU sitting on their grounds. We understand how important the soil in the Mississippi Delta is. We know that the soil there is great for a number of things, especially growing stuff, right? Why, oh, why is Mississippi Valley State University not an A&M school yet? Why? We have the land to be able to do those things. We have the land to be able to establish that agriculture program on the damn campus, and we're not doing it. We're talking about I'm talking about all the land that's there, bro, and even looking back, if you look at the campus, behind the campus, that land that they just built those apartments on like 10, 20 years ago. You know what I'm talking about? And you talking about the land that's across the street from Valley all the way over to the fields and even some of the fields. As much as the Delta is rich with the soil that we have, Mississippi Valley State should have been started as an agricultural program. Mississippi Valley State should have been Mississippi Valley A&M University. And it is not too late to do those things. If they're spending money to turn Mississippi Valley State or to add an A&M to the university, hey, bro, I'm saying you can have a whole entire livestock program there. You know what I mean? You can have even with the mosquito problems that we're having in the Mississippi Delta. We have mosquito problems every year. Why are we not? The swampland that's over there, right behind the IT department, the IT building. Like if you go in the parking lot behind the thing and go into them trees, there's a whole swamp back there. You can go back there and collect all of these mosquitoes and do mosquito research. That's part of the shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying, Mashai. It is asinine that these people are not looking at the potential that Mississippi Valley has if they were to step outside of the box. If they stepped outside of the box, and more importantly, if the administration, but see, here go the thing, right? Uh, the administration can only do so much, right? And I understand that the administration can only do so much. We as a collective, we as the alum, we have to be able to come back and help. We have to be able to come back and help. Patrick said it here. Alums have to come back and help open up businesses. We got to take control of the narrative and not totally depending on or waiting for Valley, because they have shown no interest. None. They've shown that they don't give a fuck about us. But we have to show that we still give a fuck about them. Right? You know what I'm saying? And see, there you go. Mashad Desmond said that Southern University has a meat laboratory and plant on campus that he used to work at when I was down there at Alcorn. Now, I'm telling on myself, right? But when I was down there at Alcorn, they used to have way in the back, they used to have like a poultry thing back there. They have a road back there. I used to go back there because I was back there, you know what I'm saying, turning that little shit into a turn road. So, it is what it is. But they got that shit at Alcorn. They got this shit at Alcorn. Alcorn is taking advantage of their shit. Why we can't take advantage of ours? Right? That's what I'm saying. And much West Nile research, we got West Nile right there at Valley. We got that right there at Valley. And we could have been doing that. Meanwhile, Mississippi State has been doing that for at least 8 years now. And let's just be honest. The mosquitoes in Mississippi are bad, but the mosquitoes in the Delta are the worst. Right? They are the worst. And that's the perfect place to do the damn research. You know what I'm saying? We could have a stronghold on the educational aspect of agriculture in the entire state of Mississippi if they allow it. We could do that. We really could, you know what I mean? And so it's just really, really, really hard for me to look at that and just be like, why they not helping? Why they not helping themselves? You know what I'm talking about? Why they not doing this, that, and the third? You know what I mean? It baffles me. You know what I mean? But I digress. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we can continue talking, but I just want to say, you know what I mean? Make sure that you go to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube page. You hear me? Go follow me on TikTok, on Twitter, and follow me here on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Follow me on IG. I'm everywhere. You heard me? We are live right now on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitter. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. I'm looking at comments from Facebook. I'm looking at comments from YouTube. I'm looking at comments from Twitter, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's so many. There's so many instances where Mississippi Valley could do a whole lot better as an institution, but they're not. Meanwhile, there's so many instances where we, as alumni, can do a whole lot better than we are doing, and we're not. At some point, uh, at some point, we are going to have to learn to coexist, the administration and the alumni. How do we fix that relationship? Because that is a tainted relationship. I understand that, we do have a new president, and I hope that he is coming in and doing whatever he can do to mend the relationship between the old administration and the alumni. I hope that it can be rectified, because if it can't, This is 2023. We are 27 years. 27? Yeah, we are 27 years away from Mississippi Valley State turning 100 years old. If it doesn't be fixed, what I'm most fearful of is that Mississippi Valley won't exist to see itself turn 100 years old. I hope that in 27 years that I'm still here on earth to be able to see Valley turn 100. But at the rate that it's going, with the decline in the enrollment, with the lack of everything, I can see a situation presenting itself where Mississippi Valley won't exist in 100 years. And that's the sad part. Some of y'all, do y'all remember a few years back, maybe 15 years back, when there was talk of people trying to merge Mississippi Valley with Alcorn and Jackson State? Do y'all remember that? At some point, that's going to be a topic of conversation again. And at some point, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we won't be able to put up a big enough argument to say why they shouldn't merge. At some point, that's going to be a thing. You know what I mean? And I don't want that to be a thing. Mashai just said it perfectly. You know what I'm saying? The state of Mississippi wants Valley. You know what I mean? They want Valley. They want to be able to get rid of it. You know what I mean? So you know that's you know what I mean? It's crazy. I said that I wanted to talk about a bunch of other stuff today, but we've already spent an hour on this, and I do have some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. I guess I'll save that for another day. But what I will do, those of you that are still here, what's that? It's 9:16 now. In 6 hours. In 6 hours, I am going to listen. I'm going to wake up out of my sleep to go and listen to this new Andre 3000 album. I'm going to listen to it from front to back. And then I'll come back and go live immediately after, because I want my reaction to be fresh. I want my reaction to be fresh. And I know a lot of y'all are probably going to be asleep. You heard me? A lot of y'all are going to be asleep. But I'm already setting my shit to wake me up at 2:45 so that I can listen to it at 3 o'clock, which would be 12 o'clock on the West Coast. That's when all of the music drops, at midnight on the West Coast. I'm going to be up. I'm going to listen to it. And then I'm going to give my honest opinion on the album real time when it come out. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so here go the thing, you know, is I watched two interviews. Well, I listened to one and I watched the other one. I listened to two interviews that he talked about with the processing of this album. And while I do understand some of the stuff that he's coming from, I am the and here's the thing, because Mr. Robinson is going to understand what I'm saying. As a lover of music, I am really excited to hear what this Woodwind album is going to be about. However, as a fan of hip hop, as a fan of Outkast, and as a fan of Andre 3000, I am disappointed that this is what this album is going to be. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, his last album, the interview that he said, now he said that he didn't say he wouldn't rap no more, but he did say that he find it difficult to find stuff to rap about, being almost 50 years old, right? But I also feel like, yeah, I also feel like, between Idlewild, the album that was kind of a soundtrack to the movie that he was in with Big Boy, I feel like between then and this year, the features that he has given us uh have been so great that the expectation was going to be that when he does put out an album, it's going to be fire. It's going to be, just bars and bars and bars and bars. Because you know, uh, even this year, he is nominated for a rap collaboration with Killer Mike for the song that he was on with Killer Mike on his album that came out earlier this year. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, boom. And you back up to all of those features that he's had over the years. And it's like you building me up for a great, 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 great rap album. You know what I'm saying? Uh Michelle, I ain't gonna hold my breath on that. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I ain't gonna hold my breath. You know what I'm saying? Uh I'm not gonna hold my breath for an Outkast album. As much as I want to, I'm not gonna do that to myself, right? But it's like, you know what it's like? It's like, and I know that I'm probably shouldn't say this, but hell, when have I ever given a fuck about shit I'm not supposed to say? But it's like when you with a girl or whatever, and the girl keep promising you that she gonna give you some, and it's gonna be good because you can see how you can imagine how good it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? You can imagine how good it's gonna be. She about to put this shit on you. You hear me? And then when it finally come time for her to give you some, she only want to do anal. She don't want to give you no head. She don't want to give you none of that thing. She don't want to do anal. I mean, it's good for what it is, but that ain't what the fuck I want. I want some of that thing. You know what I'm talking about? I want some of that mouth. I want some of that thing, girl. Why you just trying to get, then that's just how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? And so, I got some Captain D's upstairs. I'm going to warm my Captain D's up. Uh, by the way, Captain D's has not sponsored anything on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, hey Desmond, let me tell you something. You said you ain't had the energy to listen to hip hop in a long time. It really, because you come from my era of hip hop. There's not been much that you and I and people our age are going to have energy for to listen to. You know what I mean? And because of that, I think that we do need people like 3000. We need people, excuse me, like Nas, who's put out his King Diseases, and we need people who's gonna give us, like Jay-Z, the 444 album and the verses that he's put out like he did on God Did. We need those things because we cannot relate to a lot of the shit that is out now. We can't relate to it. We need, what we need? They need to make a new category for rap. We need adult contemporary hip hop. That's what we need to call it. We need adult contemporary hip hop. They can have regular hip hop. They can have all that shit. You know what I'm saying? They can have that. We need grown folks, you know what? And we can call it grown folk bars. That's what we need. We need grown folk bars. That's a new category for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Either uh because even with us, you know what I'm saying? Like we ain't no, we would have we would have better time. Like I said, me and Mr. Robinson, we would have a better time trying to play a bunch of instruments than spitting some bars. And don't get it fucked up. My pen is good, but we would have a better time playing instruments. You know what I'm saying? But we need people that are going to, Cole said it best. We're missing true storytellers, but we also are missing people that are telling stories that we can relate to. I don't care to hear stories about going to the club anymore. That's way outside of my realm of reality right now. I need to hear stories about, shit that I can relate to. I can't come up with nothing right now off the top of my head, but I need something that I can relate to. That's why, I can look at that that 444 album by Jay-Z and I can relate to that. I can relate to some of the stuff that 3000 was spitting on some of these other people's features. You know what I'm saying? I can relate to those things. But in terms of this new Woodwind album, we're gonna stop calling it just a flute album. This man playing a whole bunch of shit. But uh in terms of this jazz woodwind instrumental piece, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to give my opinion on it. Uh, I'm gonna wake up at like 2:45. I'm gonna wake up at like 2:45. Normally, and people gonna say, yeah, and people have to understand that it is a collaboration with a lot of legends in the jazz or in the jazz world. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna wake up at like 2:30. I'm gonna take me an edible between 2:35 and 2:45, and then I'm gonna listen to this motherfucking album. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna listen to this album, and the album is 87 minutes long. It comes out at 3 o'clock. Uh, so about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Uh, part of me wants to just do the review. Come back here and do the review again, but I know ain't nobody gonna be up then. I may just wait until the morning, like the morning, and do that. You know what, Cole? Hey, you know what? You absolutely right, brother. You know what? I'm fucking up. Sometimes you need people like you to pull my coattail. You know what I'm saying? We need people like you to pull my coattail and Mashai, both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking up. I forget for a whole minute that y'all was doing y'all thing too. You know what I'm talking about? Forgive me. But but what, like I said, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I work overnight anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I'm off on Wednesday nights and Thursday nights. So Friday when new music come out, I'm usually up to listen to it anyway. But I'm gonna pop me a little edible. I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna process it. I'm gonna let it sit with me, and then I'm gonna wake up, and then I'm gonna come back live tomorrow, sometime tomorrow morning, and give my honest uh opinion on the album from a music lover's perspective, not just a lover of hip hop, not just a lover of Andre 3000 as a hip hop lyricist. I'm going to listen to it from the perspective of a connoisseur of music. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Michelle, you gotta get her, get that thing out the way. You know what I'm talking about? But ladies and gentlemen, man, hey, I want to say to y'all, oh, I got the wrong one. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say I appreciate each and every one of y'all for bearing with me and listening and all that stuff. When you hear my music, uh, when you hear my music, that's how you know that the the shit is almost over with. You know what I'm talking about? So what I did too, you know what I'm saying, is I purposely uh I had to go to, what was it, Fruity Loops or whatever. I went to Fruity Loops and had to make my own intro and outro music so that I don't get hit with no copyright shit. So I made this my damn self, right? But I want to thank y'all for showing up, showing out in the comment section. This has been, you know, a wonderful, wonderful thing. Make sure that you're going to follow me on TikTok. Make sure you follow me on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, on IG, and on YouTube. Subscribe. Uh, my name is Catfish. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, you know what? Maybe we can do that. Let me pause my music right quick. Maybe we can do that one day. I usually try to go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Right? But I can record it and, do it whenever, you know what I'm talking about? So just let me know, bro. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to me, let me know. We can make it happen, you heard me? And the truth of the matter is, again, y'all don't have to be here with me. I can send you a link. I could have brought you on here today. You know what I'm talking about? So, Michelle, whenever you ready, you know what I'm talking about? You and Cole, you know what I'm talking about? Hey, I'm with it. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all, man, for listening again. You know what I'm talking about? And man, I fucks with y'all. You know what I'm talking about? I hope y'all keep fucking with me. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all have a good one. Y'all take it easy. And make sure that you don't forget to follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, IG, everything. Catfish. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.